All right, hello. This is my part two of my interview I just did with my father. I got lots of notes, and yeah, let's talk about it. Let's do this quick little 5-minute analysis. So when I originally went and gave my dad the questions, we talked about him for a while, let him think about it and stuff like that. I chose him because, again, he's a firefighter down in Woodinville or Eastside Fire Union. And I just felt like he would have, I know it's my father and maybe not the best person. It'd probably be better if I would have interviewed someone else, but I felt like it was good because he works with police officers and he's very, very, very educated in what we talk about in class a lot. And he finds it very interesting. So some things to kind of point, I'm kind of going to go by each question and give the insight and highlight what I thought was the best. So for the first question, in your view, what factors have contributed to either building or enduring public trust in the local police? So my dad went through and I wish he said it in the interview, but he didn't until I turned off the camera. But he went actually a little bit more in depth into it. He knows about the media and whatnot. He sees two sides of it. So he sees the police force that, like, when someone goes, like he mentioned in my interview, when someone goes to a cardiac arrest call, right, he gets called, the police are on site there, and they help with the family and whatnot, which I think is wonderful. I think it's amazing that they do that. And he sees the media side of things where they're being portrayed as usually bad, you know. And something he told me, not in this interview, but a while ago, he said, cops mainly get portrayed as bad guys, and he feels like that's wrong, and people should be seeing what they do when he's around them. You know, he's seen police officers for cardiac arrest calls where the person that had a cardiac arrest died, you know, and the police officer goes in to hug the wife or the mom or the grandchild or the child's of whoever passed away, and he's like, that's what matters. You know what I mean? So he went in just saying they help, you know, they're there to help, they're there to work with you, they're there to be with you and protect you. And he says he finds it great on how patient they are with people around them and things like that. And he says they get a lot of verbal abuse. He's heard it when he's on calls. Again, he's not a police officer, he's a firefighter. But when he's on calls, he sees it, he's heard it, you know what I mean? And they're very, very patient. So with that question, what factors, he said that's a huge one. He thinks that if anyone's going to go to the police force, that you have to be patient and you have to be resilient, which I think is 100% true, and I think it's great that he was saying that. And then for the next question, what are... maybe I have it up here. In your view, what factors have contributed to either building or enduring public trust in local police? He had a hard time with this question, but oh no, sorry, that was the first question. What role should the community play in creating a safe neighborhoods beyond relying on the police? He said he thought a huge thing was neighborhood watches, which I do agree with. I don't live in a neighborhood now. I live out in the country now, but I grew up in one my whole life, and he thinks that's a huge thing because when I was a young kid, he would see random cars pull in, you know, and you might look, you know, if I was outside with the neighbor kids playing, you know what I mean? He would keep a close eye, so would the other families in the neighborhood and whatnot. So I do agree with him on there, and I think that's something that should be implemented in all neighborhoods because, you know, we can't always rely, in my opinion, can't always rely on the government for everything, you know. Sometimes we got to do things ourselves. We're our own people, you know what I mean? And he also was saying, what was it? Oh, it relies safety. You know, and if everyone's watching, everyone's protecting it, it does create feels more safer, feels more secure in the environment. And yeah. And then for the last question, he didn't have much to say about this one, but because he was a little confused on it, but he thought a great sort of, what was the word that he used? Let me see, I have it written on my notes, and then I have digital notes up here. Programs. He thought a cool one was the volunteer volunteer police, and it's mainly old people, and he was just kind of saying, I think that's good for the elderly, and it relays a different image on them, on police as a whole. And yeah, and then I had one more thing. Let me see if I can find it. I don't have good handwriting, so I have to kind of go back and forth. My last thing is, I just feel like, especially in the interview, I think a lot of what he says relates to a lot about what we talk about in the recent readings, and what we just talk about in class in general. And I just thought it was a great source for him to be able to put part of this. So, yeah, thank you so much.